Solo travel, the art of turning strangers into your best friends. It doesn't matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert, it only matters that you put yourself out there. This is my story, my first time solo traveling Europe in a place I had always dreamed to go, the Balkans. Over the course of 2 weeks, I met my people, saw places I felt like they were from a dream, and found myself freeing my spirit with every step I took. This is a story for all the people who want to solo travel but only do it in their minds or behind a screen. Watch this video, buy a ticket, and go. It's like my last night in my own bed with the privacy of my own room before I spend 2 weeks in hostels. It doesn't feel real that I'm about to leave. My goal during this trip is to just be present, not be on my phone, allow myself to experience the highs and give myself grace during the lows. I'm doing this on my own. I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be lonely. All these things are going to play a role. I'm going to be away from home. But I'm really excited about this trip, and I want to make sure that my nervousness, it's excitement at the end of the day. But here we go. I began my trip in the city of Ljubljana, the capital of Slovenia. The city wasn't too crowded and felt quite peaceful. My first day was spent exploring the city center and taking in the popular tourist attractions. Being on my own was a bit lonely. I wasn't accustomed to the solo travel lifestyle yet, and seeing friends and couples gave me FOMO and anxiety. I was in such a beautiful place and was going back and forth between experiencing what was in front of me and stressing out about my solitude. Thankfully, my environment got the best of me and I slowly immersed myself into the experience of travel early on. Then I checked into my party hostel. I met so many great people and we all quickly connected. It was such an exhilarating feeling. My biggest fear on this trip of discovering connection was resolved. We did a pub crawl and I basically ended up crawling home. The next morning was a tough one. I'm thankful I learned my lesson early on this trip. It was a good reminder that partying was secondary to the experience I was looking for.
What's going on?
Mark, one of my roommates from the night before, was joining me to my second destination, Lake Bled. We spent the drive getting to know each other, and by the time we got to the lake, we were already boys. By the time we got to Lake Bled and were settled, it was basically 5 o'clock. I was bummed out, thinking my day was basically over. I had planned so much for this trip, just to waste a precious day recovering. I went into our walk, thinking we were going to call it early and get an early night. This is going to be a memorable experience, and you're going to remember this jump for a very long time.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. Dude, that's actually so fucking sick. Holy shit. Mom, I love you. Dad, I love you. I don't know what else to say.
Let's fucking go! Woo!
Shit's crazy.
It's pretty nice. Turn around.
I can't sit crisscross houses. I'm still on pretzel.
Okay, so I'm here with
Mark Gamazaychikov. I'm 19 years old. I'm a freshman in college. We met in Ljubljana at party hostel ZZZ. We had a fun night, so yeah.
It was a fun night. Thankfully, I remember most of it.
I'm entering a crossroads right now, and this trip is honestly perfect. I'm gonna be by myself. I loved your company, but I'm ready for, some solitude. This is genuinely like my first solo traveling experience and my first hostel experience, and you really showed me that strangers can be nice and accepting, and you've changed the way. I mean, I had a feeling they could be like this, but you really solidified that, so I'm very grateful for that. Thank you. Bye, bro.
This feels so weird. We're going to say goodbye. With Mark, I realized it doesn't matter how the day starts. Solo traveling is meant to be a dynamic and overall spontaneous pursuit. My days weren't meant to follow schedule, they were meant to follow adventure. I separated from the me back home and began to free my spirit to the whims of the moment, to the people I was with, and to the magical days that would soon follow. I was thankful for a solo day at my next stop in Sochi. For the last 2 days I had been in constant companionship that forced me out of myself, but I felt the urge to return within. Yet, the second I got some time alone with myself, the thoughts and anxiety about my travels returned. What if I don't make new friends? What if this was a highlight of my trip? Blah, blah, blah. Over time, however, I noticed the place began to take over and I slowly eased back into the present. I had been so excited to kayak the running waters, however, the rental car company needed my car back at an earlier time. I had to make do with what I had. I spent my time in Socha hiking, taking photos, and experiencing some of the most profound, serendipitous moments of my life. I found myself back in Ljubljana the next morning meditating. My rental car had a tiny scratch and I was out $400. Thankfully, I had insurance, but the day wasn't off to the best start. I was tired. The last night I had met someone and we stayed up deep into the night talking. I had 12 hours to kill before my bus to Croatia, and rather than force things, I followed my body, I took my time with things, sat down, and didn't succumb to the pressure to explore. I napped in different spots around the city and found my way back to the first hostel. Huge shout out to Hostel Celica for letting me hang out until 1 a.m. and do my laundry until my bus came. The next morning, I woke up to palm trees in the teal-blue Adriatic Sea. This was the beginning of the second leg of my tour. My first stop in Croatia was the island of Hvar, by far my favorite spot during the entirety of my travels. What I loved about the place was that all the tourist spots were also local spots. I spent my afternoon calmly exploring the island. At this point, I was fully immersed in my travels, I didn't force anything, and calmly went about enjoying every single second. The thought of home was too far away, and I was no longer new to the solo traveling lifestyle. I felt in my element. I looked forward to the uncertainty and trusted myself more than I had in a very, very long time. The next morning, my roommates took me to a hidden beach and man, oh man, did I have a day. Of course, some solo aquatic adventure was essential, and every single time I looked like a fool. Here's the thing though, the more of a fool you look like, the more fun you are having. I ended up splurging 30 euros on a beach chair and umbrella and spent the day by the ocean. People from my hostel came in and out, and in the mixture of good conversations, beautiful waters, and ice-cold beers, I basically had the perfect day. I was really sad to leave Hvar, but was en route to the destination of my dreams, Dubrovnik. A huge part of why I wanted to come to the Balkans was to see this city. And no, it wasn't for Game of Thrones. They call it the Pearl of the Adriatic, and I can totally see why. This city did not disappoint, except for how expensive it was. I spent most of my time in the city walls, oogling over the architecture and breathtaking beauty. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Oh, it's golden hour and everything. Okay, I'm obsessed.
This one's on my hair.
Yeah, okay, just kind of like look around. Oh, yes, perfect. Love it, love it, love it. Obsessed. Okay, great, now look at me. Smile. Oh, sick.
Are you kidding me? Yo, I look sleazy in the best way possible right now.
You're slaying.
Sydney, a girl from my hostel in Hvar, ended up in the same hostel as me in Dubrovnik. We quickly realized that we share the same passion for photo and film and basically spent the entire day together capturing Dubrovnik. We were both confident behind a camera, but being in front of one was a different story. We forced each other out of our comfort zones, and I learned a thing or two about posing. It was very special getting to know someone while doing something you love in a city you've been dreaming about for months. Sydney left the next day, and I was back on my own. My main objective was to kayak the city walls. I spent the afternoon trying to avoid as many tourists as possible. I know it's ironic, but I felt like solo traveling put me in a different category than a typical tourist. My goal was to blend in and not stand out. I went inside of a museum, but only lasted 5 minutes. Usually I'm big on history and arts, but this trip felt more like learning from people and places rather than exhibits. Finally, your boy made the kayaking tour, and underwhelming to be honest. My partner and I had zero paddling chemistry, and we spent the entire time trying to keep up rather than enjoy the view. Plus, it was surprisingly cold, and I really had to pee. The views were nice, but sometimes what you got going on inside really takes away from the outside. It was an early night, but I got a game of Jenga in right before bed. With some of the people I played Jenga with, we went to a local beach in the outskirts of Dubrovnik. We spent our time swimming, sharing stories, and laughing. I can't describe how light and free I felt that morning. Something about the people, the place, and my past experiences all meshed together to create another perfect day. I really valued the time I spent with Santiago, Remjim, and Palash. Something about the inevitable goodbye during these travels captures these moments and stores them deep inside of me. I don't know if I'll ever see these people again, but I know I'll remember them. I remember one line someone told me as we parted ways. It was nice knowing you. Not it was nice meeting you, but it was nice knowing you. A goodbye, if you will, but a goodbye that captures a connection you shared. I was supposed to visit 2 cities in Montenegro, but I fell in love with Budva so much that I spent the rest of my travels there. It's funny, my initial impressions of the place when I first got there was, get me the heck out. But a night's rest and a little bit of cliff jumping is always the best cure to change your perspective. Budva was a perfect mixture of being quaint and sociable, a relaxing atmosphere, good food, and always a good time if you just stepped outside. I got on quite well with some of the people from my boat tour, and we ended up spending time together over the next 3 days. 3 days relaxing by the sea, having nowhere to be and nothing to do, only having to walk 15 minutes at the very most, and spending the entirety of my time with no sunscreen, using a beard to hydrate all the water I had lost. One regret I have on this trip is that I didn't interact with the locals enough. A big part of it was fear. Although I met many new friends, they were all travelers. We were brought together by the hostels and were bonded by traveling. I remained curious about the lives and personalities of the locals whose countries I visited. The few I met were kind, welcoming, and willing to lend a helping hand. But what if I went out of my way to connect with them? What would happen?
Steak fit.
That's
It's a 10 out of 10.
Good. Mushrooms bagger.
If you're ever in Budva.
Happy Michael. How'd you do it?
10 out of 10.
Good. What one did you get the other day?
10 out of 10. For my last day traveling, I decided to make it a solo day. A day of reflection, a day with just me. I spent my time reflecting on the past experiences, all the friends I made, the places I saw, and allowing myself to feel deeply. I found myself planning my next adventure and dreaming about how I could make traveling a lifestyle. I walked the coastal town, soaking in the views I had previously taken for granted, walking the streets I had previously rushed through, and looking at the people I had previously overlooked. I had one last swim at the beach, and one satisfying feeling of any beach day is a James Bond walk out of the water. The Balkans, however, are not a good place for that, and every time I got out of the water, thanks to the stones and sea urchins, I turned into a klutz. One last soaking of the sun, one last moment to experience a freedom that I know I won't experience in a while. I said goodbye to the hostel I had grown so fond of and made my way to the Airbnb by the airport. My trip had come to an end, but the adventure of travel has only begun. Solo traveling really is the art of turning strangers into your best friends. It's the art of really getting to know someone, then saying goodbye. It's the art of testing yourself in a foreign place with nothing familiar to rely on. You ride emotional waves, experiencing crazy highs and some pretty lonely lows. I wouldn't trade my experience for anything. My heart is full of the people I met, the places I saw, and the stories that were told. Maybe one day I will forget about all of this, but I know I'll always remember the feeling this trip gave me. If you're thinking of taking the leap, just do it. Don't overplan, don't worry about how you're going to get there. Just buy a ticket, have a basic outline, and go. Who knows? You might have the time of your life.